This is the first Descendant. You may have never heard of this game, or if you did, you didn't quite understand what it was, or you didn't find yourself really all that interested. You may have played the game during its launch window, say those first few months, maybe even the first 6 months of the game. You gave it an extended shot, and found yourself wanting more content, more control and customization over your character, weapons, just your ability to build the character and play it how you wanted to. Maybe the grind wasn't rewarding enough. Maybe the grind was just a little too much at times. I'll admit, there were a couple things for me in the early times of this game that I thought were going to make me quit playing. But I'm here to tell you, if you're not playing the first Descendant now, or if you have never played it, now is a great time to give it a shot. And obviously, I am a Nexon creator, or First Descendant creator, whatever you want to call it. I have a creator code. If people follow me on that, then, I get credit for it. I've never really gotten anything out of that. I really do it as more of a badge of honor. I love this game, and I proudly have that little badge next to my, name in game just because of that. I proudly put that on my channels because I love the game. I want to promote it and see it succeed. So I am not receiving any reimbursement for this. I will probably never see money from being a Nexon creator. That's not the point to me. The point to me is this is something I'm passionate about, and I would like to see other people be passionate about, or at least give it a shot and have some fun. The first Descendant has, in the last 2 years, taken a lot of flack, feedback, and criticism from both fans, gaming journalism, and people that like other games in this genre. It is in the same vein as like Warframe or Destiny 2. It is a multiplayer PvE looter shooter experience. So I know that's a bunch of tags there, but player versus environment, there's no player versus player. I love that. I don't want to play competitively against people in this. I don't think that would work anyways with the way the combat, the characters, the build, and all that is. It's multiplayer. It's drop in, drop out. You can do everything solo if you want or are capable of it, or you can play along with others and find friends. The majority of the time for me, I basically play solo, and I use the Albion, the social hub basically, as like a place to like make new friends, and occasionally I will do things with them. Obviously, if you come out into the open world, the various maps and the regions in the map, it's helpful to have the other players there because it makes all these missions a lot more doable. Some of them, even if you're a high-level player who's been playing a long time, can still be challenging. And in fact, they've added more challenge over time because players have asked for it. That is one thing I do like about this development team and the players. For whatever flaws they do have, they have heard a lot of those critiques and have tried to match them in a lot of ways. Whether it was giving the ability to paint base outfits or have more segments of the costumes paintable and customizable, or whether it was adding an entire map region, the one you're seeing here on screen now, the Axiom Plains, that is essentially meant to be for long-time players who needed more of a challenge, who needed the grind to be more fun for them and to give them a reason to continue playing. Or whether that was developing what is now essentially like a horde mode for the game. It's called Onslaught, where you just face wave after wave after wave of enemies and build fortifications and try to survive as long as possible to gain various rewards. There are so many different things that they have done with this game to try and match the expectation of the players over the last 2 years. I find, this being my first experience in this realm of gaming, I find that just is the way it works. You're going to launch something and you're going to have an expectation. I don't think Nexon knew the game was going to be as popular as it was, and that people were going to say, hey, we need all this stuff. And they've slowly but surely tried to match those demands. I would like to see more people take an interest in this game. Obviously, that means the developers need to do more. However, at its current state, I think if you were to jump into it now and decide you wanted to learn it, get into it or whatever, if you were somebody who had played early on and left, I have people on my friends list that were like there every single day playing this game for the first couple months, and then they disappeared. And I don't think they've ever come back. I don't think many people realize how much more there is to this game at this point. Some may not even realize it's still around. I did see some friends of mine go to games like Warframe and Destiny 2. And I just think that that's a shame. There is multiple new regions to the game with new types of gameplay. There is new styles of combat. They've added melee weapons, and there's a whole variety of those there, from like heavy sword types to dual wielding, and just so many different ways to build out your character to match the type of weapon you want to use, or to match the type of abilities you want to use. I am somebody who really likes firearms. When I play a looter shooter, I want to shoot stuff, right? However, I like really cool abilities too. And so I have found that with the characters I particularly like, Haley is one that I'm showcasing in the video a lot. There's also Nell, and there's others. But with those in particular, I build them so that their abilities are there to enhance their firearm or weapon gameplay and make them very strong in that sense. I also am somebody who likes to have a lot of defense. I like to have survivability, and I will often build for survivability over damage output. So sometimes it'll seem as if I'm less effective, for instance, in boss battles, but I'm also not dying as much, I hope. So you could, however, go into this game and decide, I want to build a character in an entirely different way, and you have that ability. The module system has been greatly expanded. It was pretty basic when it first started. You have a certain amount of module space. Each module, which is like some form of upgrade to your character, or weapons as well, have modules. But in particular characters, you would put these modules in and they would increase, a skill effect range, or your health, or your recovery of some sort, whether it's shields or health, or just all these different attributes that you could enhance and build your character to work the way you want. Stack off each other and give you different effects. It was pretty basic initially. And then you had a Transcendent module that could modify something about your character's skill set, for instance. In some cases, it'll completely remove certain skills and change them into something completely different. You have that option. Later, they added the Ancestor modules, which are kind of like hyper, they're like juiced up versions of your regular modules, and that you can go and re-roll to try and get specific stats and things. There's just so many different things that they have done to allow you to build out your character to your specifications, to the way you want to play the first Descendant. And that also goes for weaponry. That goes for, you have vehicles now. You can add those to your gameplay. You've also got the pets that were added. There's 3 different dogs. One will recover MP for you, one will recover HP for you, and one will refill your rounds for the currently equipped weapon. All these dogs will pick up map items for you, like the gold and Kuiper shards and various things that drop, items you need, resources that drop on the map. Instead of you running around and having to collect up all that stuff and potentially missing it, the dog does it for you. And then you can also set up auto recyclers to clear out your inventory. So these are quality of life things that made the game so much more playable versus when it first came out. And there are people that don't even know those exist. So if you don't know, hey, guess what? That thing that was bugging the crap out of you, that's been resolved. There's also, and this one I think is really cool, there's also the fact that we're talking about the grind here. In the past, when you wanted something like an ultimate character or an ultimate weapon, and obviously to progress gameplay, you're going to want those things because the game gets difficult. You're going to want to play in hard mode, etc. You need ultimate level characters. They're just more fun. When I first tried to grind for Ultimate Valby, and there are people that would probably recognize this grind. You had to go to an outpost for a specific one of her component blueprints, or maybe it was her character code. I can't remember which one it was. This was a long time ago. That outpost, and an outpost is like a semi-enclosed area that, you know, respawns the enemies on a timer, it resets, and you can battle it, destroy it, and get the reward at the end. In those outposts, there was, I think in this one, 5 generators that you have to destroy. And then you kill the enemies. And the enemies were really difficult because you didn't have ultimate characters everywhere at that time. First of all, this is on hard. And if you wanted the specific amorphous pattern or whatever it was you needed to get this thing for Valby, Ultimate Valby, the character, you had to have someone who had a character named Sharon who has a stealth ability, a cloak ability. And instead of destroying the generators and clearing the outpost, she goes in and basically hacks all the generators. That's difficult for one Sharon to do. In particular, it's difficult for one Sharon to do and have the other players there let her do it. Because you'd have people that would want to rush in and just start fighting. I had to do this outpost over 100 times. And it was frustrating to finally get enough of these things, because then I have to take these amorphous patterns. They're essentially like a dice roll for this component or whatever it was for Valby to another thing, another mission. It was a reactor or something like that, and I had to fight like this mini boss basically 100 times to get the unlock I needed. Anyways, trying to explain this as best I can for somebody who maybe hasn't played the game, so you know the struggle. It was an insane struggle back then, and it was enough that at a certain point, probably about halfway through it, I was like, do I even want to keep playing this game? Because when I looked at Valby, I picked her because out of the available ultimate characters, there wasn't as many back then. I had like all the resources I needed for her, and I was like, oh cool, I can go get an ultimate character. I just gotta get these things, right? I didn't know what I was in for. That is so much better now. The grind, you still have to grind for these things. Like there is still, like, you know, work to be put in. That's the point of the game. But now you have something called a target reward system. And you have, I believe, 4 slots you can pick, where you go into the library or you go to the research station, you say, I need this thing, right? For this character or this weapon. I need this component, blueprint, or whatever. And you mark it as a target reward. So when you go to do the mission where that should be a reward, every time you fail to roll and get that reward you need, it increases the percentage for that target reward. It increases the percentage that your likelihood to get it the next time you complete it. And if you keep going and don't get it, you know, it might get to 33% and then boom, you've got it, right? Or it might just keep going. You don't roll it. At a certain point, you're guaranteed to get it. So there still is some randomness to it. There is still the grind that is needed, but now you will eventually get it. It's not going to take you 12 hours to grind those components for that character. So there have been many updates to the game to improve player experience, to improve combat, to add new things to do. Like I said, whether it is new bosses, whether it's completely new gameplay mechanics with melee weapons, with hover bikes, with the new wide open regions with different types of bosses and styles of quests. There are so many new things to do in the game, expanded on what there already was. They even added these ships, like these derelict spaceships that you go and grind for various things, and those are cool. They have a different style of gameplay. There is a future for this game. It is so much fun. It is absolutely gorgeous. This game is an Unreal Engine 5 game and is one of the best looking games I have ever seen. In particular for a game that is free to play. That's the other thing. This game is free. If you're just bored and looking for something to do, it is free. And you have beautiful characters that are customizable, you know, their appearance with their hair, their makeup, their outfits and such. Now, those are things that, yes, you may have to pay for. That's where they're making the money. or you get a battle pass or a season pass or whatever, and you'll get things there, costumes, cosmetics, various other items and stuff that are cool, skins for weapons, etc. But the game itself, everything you want to do outside of essentially cosmetics is free. You don't ever have to spend a dime in this game. It's absolutely gorgeous. I play it, all this footage is captured on Xbox Series X in performance mode. It's gorgeous even in performance mode. I can imagine if you had a decent computer rig and you were trying to play this game, it probably is like off the charts. The gameplay, I'm sorry, is very fun. You have a great mix of these different abilities to use, along with the looter shooter aspect, jumping around with really cool weapons and killing hordes of enemies to unlock stuff. I'm just saying, in 2026, there is a flood of garbage games out there. There is a flood of games that, might be pretty good that you could give a try. I think the first Descendant at its current stage is one of those games. And if people start coming to the game and supporting it, I think it could have a longer term future. I don't see anything from the developers that has indicated that they're not supporting this game and continue to develop for it. We've had a pretty extended Season 3 Battle Pass. Or not just the Battle Pass, but just like they keep adding new episodes to the season. So they're still doing things there. They added the Onslaught mode, so people have a repeatable gameplay loop, which, is fun. But I think that there is more down the road for this game. And if people who just never really gave it a shot, or people who gave it a shot initially, in the very early stages of this game, were to come back and check it out again, they would have a whole new perspective on the first Descendant. So please come give it a try. If you want to sign up with the creator code, dealio, that link is below in the description. But it's really not about that. I just love this game. I have way too much fun playing it. I want to see it continue to grow, and I want to see other people enjoying this game as well.